is the German Touring Car Masters. Hello everyone, I'm Milt Fitzwater. Welcome to Donington, England, where today is the third race weekend in the German Touring Car Masters and plenty of surprises in qualifying. Thanks in part to this man, Alain Menu from Switzerland. His best qualifying performance of the season. He qualified third. It's the best start for Opel. It's a great weekend already for the Opel crew.
If it's wet, then, strategy, I guess, will be different. If it's dry, then you see more what you're doing. There is no spray, and the car will behave differently. So, if it's like today, it will be tricky because the track is drying out and the tires go off. So I don't know yet. We'll see.
Starting second will be this man, Jean Alesi in a Mercedes. And Mercedes also experiencing its best weekend so far. They've had trouble in the first two race weekends, but Alesi, for most of the qualifying, was on the pole position. But he would lose it, as we'll see in just a moment. But Alesi this season, 14th, 13th, and then today, he qualifies second. The Frenchman has become very popular with the fans. He's also very popular with the other drivers, and now he certainly is popular with Mercedes.
Well, first of all, this kind of condition for me are the best. But as I explained many times, it's very important for me to learn each time I go in a car. I try to understand where is the limit, which kind of tires I have to use. In this case, maybe, I don't know if it was a mistake or not, but I was with the slick tires, the dry tires, and it was very difficult to keep the car on the circuit, but I managed to do it and I was very pleased.
And so Mercedes can sit back and smile a little bit going into this weekend after some very disappointing results in the first two weekends. But talk about being happy. It has to be this man, Manuel Reuter and Opel on the pole. Reuter qualified 4th, 14th, and now on the pole. He has to be a happy man. But not only he, but Opel.
We have to see, when you look at the last two races, happened so much in the races. You have to be a good pit stop, no problems and no crashes, so we have to see. I hope that one Opel can finish on the top three.
And so does Volker Spritzig, the man on the left. He has to finally smile, and boy does he after a great qualifying performance here at Donington. So as the drivers get ready for the racing ahead, a quick look at the area around Donington. It's near Nottingham, the legendary home of Robin Hood. It's about an hour's drive from Birmingham. It's a typical small-town English community. Of course, every town has to have its castle. Donington is no exception. And at Donington is one of the finest race museums you'll ever find anywhere in the world. A great collection of old-time race cars. Of course, located right next to the airport. And the drivers, the crews, and everyone gets ready to race at one of the oldest tracks in England. One of the tightest pit roads, too. The German touring cars raced here back in 1993 and are back again after a few years' break. The fans were everywhere. Drivers that have won here, Reuter won here, Schneider has won here. There are 3 English champions that have run here, Winkelhock, Aiello, and Manu. So the German drivers and their young fans all get together for racing on this circuit right here. 2.5 miles long. They'll run 8 laps in the qualifying race, 25 in the feature event. A good crowd on hand, around 21,000 people for the return of the German touring cars to Donington, England. A very picturesque course. The fans have a great view, particularly out in the back section of the course. It's a lot of fun to watch racing here. There's Bernd Schneider in the center. Huisman is on the left. The fans ready to go here in Donington. The course presents some very different types of driving. There's some very fast, fluid corners and some very tight corners. As the drivers get ready, this promises to be a very, very interesting race. The weather, for a change, is not raining. It's a little cool, the sun is shining, but the drivers do not have to compete with the wet weather they faced throughout qualifying. Here's how they're going to start. Manuel Reuter and Jean Alesi. They are starting on the front row. In the next row, Alain Menu and then Martin Tomczyk. Tomczyk, one of the fine young Audi drivers, doing a great start so far this season. Timo Scheider, another of the young drivers. Next to him, a veteran in that red Opel, Jochen Winkelhock. Then comes Ekstrom and Fessler in the next row. Ready to go. We're underway. Standing start. And Alesi gets off to a great start. So does Reuter, but Winkelhock is hit from behind. Jochen Winkelhock's car had stalled and got hit from behind. It looked like Uwe Alsen. Both cars are out. This will bring out the pace car. Meanwhile, Jean Alesi looks like he's got a great jump here ahead of Manuel Reuter. They head into the fastest part of the course. Two more cars have gone off the course. There you see the cars that crashed at the beginning of the race. These are the Craner curves as they head down into the old hairpin. And they go off on a very wide turn at the old hairpin by Starkey's Bridge. Then they head up toward McLean's. As they go through McLean's, they head over to the Coppice. And for race fans, these are historic names. After they go through this corner, they'll head back toward the start-finish line. Meanwhile, at the start-finish line, the crews are working on the Alsen car and on the Winkelhock car. Both drivers are okay. Back to the racing action as the drivers get off over the fence. As Alesi goes into the corner, Tomczyk moves into second place ahead of Manuel Reuter. But everyone now is concerned about what happened back at the start when Uwe Alsen ran into Jochen Winkelhock.
Ich habe einfach
I
abgelöst beim
simply
Start.
stalled the engine at the
Sowas
start.
kommt vor.
It can
Bei
happen,
mir
but
ist sowas
it never
einfach gar
happened to
nicht
me
vorgekommen.
before.
Wir haben das wirklich sehr
We've
oft
practiced it enough.
trainiert, auch beim
We even
Testen, immer wieder
practice it
Starts
during
geübt,
test
weil es
sessions
einfach sehr, sehr
because
wichtig
it's
ist.
so important.
Und genau da, wo es drauf
And right then,
ankommt,
when it means
stirbt
the
das Ding ab.
most, it
Und
dies. I'm sorry that
ja, mir
Uwe
tut es nicht
stayed
leid,
ended
dass ich
this
da noch
way,
den Uwe
but I'm
Alsen
happy
rausgerissen
that no
habe.
one
Und im
got hurt.
Strickbild muss ich sagen, bin ich froh, dass ihm sowohl als auch mir nichts passiert ist.
Jean Alesi continues out in front. Tomczyk is running second. The pace car will be coming out to pick up the field when they come around. And right there he is. There's the accident over on the right there. To the left are the cars coming in. Jean Alesi will lead the first lap. It's the first lap he's led in the German Touring Car Masters. And now what happened as far as Uwe Alsen is concerned?
Ein paar Leute sind stehen
A
geblieben,
couple
unter
of
anderem
drivers
auch
just stood
der
still,
Jochen
including
Winkelhock.
Jochen Winkelhock. I saw
Hab
them
dann
relatively
relativ
late.
spät sehen
And they
können,
were
dass er
standing
steht
still. I
und
tried to go to the right, but
versucht
Mirka
nach
had
rechts
already
rüber zu
bumped
gehen,
my
aber der
car, so
Stefan
there was
Mücke
nowhere to go.
hatte schon
I
Kontakt zu
simply
meinem
tried to
Auto, also
slow
da war
down
nichts
as
mehr
much
mit
as
Auswahl. Ich
possible.
habe dann noch versucht zu bremsen,
The
so
car
gut es geht,
accelerates
aber
very quickly. We
so
were
ein
already
Auto
at 80,
beschleunigt
90
halt
miles
unter
an
3
hour.
Sekunden von
It
0
was
auf 100
really
und da hat man
a very,
sicherlich
very
schon
bad
130
crash.
drauf, 130, 140 schätze ich mal, und es war schon ein Horrorcrash.
And we're back under the green as the pace car went back into the pits. And once again, that's Tomczyk in the yellow Audi trying to move in on Alesi, but the veteran Formula One driver turned touring car driver masters the corner easily as they head through Red Gate. Now they go down through the corners. Look at this. Martin Tomczyk, 20 years old, against the veteran Jean Alesi. They go through the Craner curves headed toward the hairpin, the old hairpin. They go through the old hairpin, past the Starkey Bridge, and look at Tomczyk right on the back bumper of Jean Alesi. Tomczyk in his second year in touring car racing. Alesi, a Formula One driver, making his first appearance in touring cars. They're putting on a show, and this is just a qualifying race to set up the field for the final and big race of the day. The rest of the field sorting itself out, but everyone's watching to see what the young Tomczyk is going to do with Jean Alesi. They're heading toward Fogarty. The very tight chicane, get a good look at it here. Into the chicane they go, over the curves. You notice it coming out through that other section, they stay off the curves. Now it's a straight shot down to the Melbourne hairpin. Coming down the hill, here's the hairpin. Alesi in front, Tomczyk, Reuter, Scheider, and then Fessler. And the defending champion, Bernd Schneider, had a terrible qualifying session, starting 16th, but he continues to work his way up into the top 10. Laurent Aiello, the points leader, also had a terrible qualifying session, starting 16th, and he's trying to work his way back up here in the qualifying race to get a better position for the start in the final race. Jean Alesi out in front. Martin Tomczyk in the Audi. Then comes Manuel Reuter in the Opel. Then comes Scheider and Fessler. Fessler from Switzerland, looking to get his good finish here for the first part of the season. Then comes Menu, who has dropped back all the way to 6th position after such a great qualifying as he started in 3rd spot. coming down past the old hairpin, and now Aiello and Tomczyk have put some space between themselves and the third place car, Manuel Reuter. Now Reuter is carrying the hopes of Opel. They have had a difficult time in the first couple of races, as has Mercedes. The first couple of races dominated by the Audis, but today Mercedes and Opel are showing their back. You're riding with Matthias Ekstrom as they go through the sections here in the back, and actually the two Audis running right next to each other as the Ekstrom is going up against Husmann. And you're riding with Patrick Husmann at this point as they go into the Fogarty down toward the Melbourne hairpin. Tomczyk won't let off, but Aiello is holding his line. Jean Aiello from France. What a great day this will be for him. He's had to learn an awful lot about touring cars, and he certainly has shown that he has done it. Finished 8th at Hockenheim, 9th at Zolder, and here he is out in front at Donington. Meanwhile, Bernd Schneider continues to roll. Schneider has gotten by Ekstrom. There are your top 8. This is a great day for the series because the Mercedes and the Opels are now back up in the top of the competition after Audi had literally dominated the first 2 races of the season. Tomczyk, who's running second, had won 1 race this season. At Hockenheim, he won the short race, the qualifying race, and then he did not finish the race at Zolder in the rain, and now he's running in second place here at Donington. He's had an up and down season. He's had some did not finishes in the feature event. In fact, both of them were DNFs, and so he hopes that things will improve here in Donington. Jean Aiello from Mercedes, a teammate of Bernd Schneider. Schneider continues to run well. He is working his way up. Let's see if he's 6, 7, 8. He's 9th position after starting back in the 16th position. So Schneider, who has worked his way up very nicely, is coming in. There goes Aiello. Aiello is working his way around, but he's way outside. Doesn't look like he's going to make up any ground here. Oh, and he got his hood. Something happened to the hood. He bumped it. You can see the car right on the left of your screen. Laurent Aiello, your points leader, bumped the car, and the hood has come loose. Cars are swinging into the pits right now, but the question is, what happened to Aiello's car, and is he going to be able to move forward and finish at least and hold position? Oh, a stop-and-go penalty. That's what that is. A stop-and-go penalty for Patrick Husmann. Going too fast in the pits. Not only him, but Dumbreck also. Both of them in for going too fast on the pit lane. Bernd Schneider continues to roll. He is now in 8th position. So he continues to get a better starting position for the feature race. The top 3 positions are what pay the points here in the qualifying race. Aiello is looking for his first points in this event, of course. He also is now the 4th leader of this season. Tomczyk, Aiello, and Ekstrom have been leaders in the qualifying race, and now Aiello has joined them. So we've had 4 different leaders in 3 qualifying races so far this season. There's Bernd Schneider continuing to work his way up on Karl Wendlinger, but the man of the hour is right there, Jean Aiello, going for his first victory of the season. And look at this in the back. Fessler ducks inside of Timo Scheider on the very last lap in the very last corner, and he takes over 4th place. Jean Aiello wins it. Tomczyk is 2nd. Reuter is 3rd, and look at that. Fessler is 4th, and Timo Scheider is 5th. Menu is 6th. But Mercedes picks up its first victory of the season, and Jean Aiello, the former Formula 1 champion, has shown touring cars are something he likes too. He wins here in Donington in the qualifying race in the 3rd race weekend of the German Touring Car Masters. Norbert Haug in the center there, very happy man. Jean Aiello, your winner. As you can see, this is the tightest race we've had so far this season. Almost 0.8 of a second there, separating 1st and 2nd place. Martin Tomczyk, the young Audi driver, continues to prove how good he is. He just has to be more consistent. Back in the pack, Matthias Ekstrom, who had started back in the pack, another of the young drivers for Audi, finishing in 9th position. There are several opportunities for the fans to meet the drivers. They open up the pit lanes. The fans can take a walk around and meet the drivers. And after practice sessions, the drivers are always available. And of course, the biggest thing is the autograph. The drivers are always there to do it. Timo Schneider. Michel Bartels, and next to him, Jochen Winkelhock.
I have quite a lot of good memories here from England. I was here for BMW for the British Touring Car Championship, 93, 94, 96. And so I meet many of the old fans from this time, you know, and I must say I have a lot of good memories. It's funny to be back here.
Martin Tomczyk doing his part to sign autographs. Fans continue to line up throughout the entire race weekend to get their favorites signed. Laurent Aiello, the man who won the first 2 feature races of the season, he'll be starting a little bit back in the pack in the feature race today as the Audi pilots are there signing autographs. Koesman from the Netherlands, he's there to sign autographs for the Mercedes crew. Vesler. So everybody gets their share, but then it's starting time to think about what lies ahead. This has been a surprise weekend so far. The rain, of course, brought about qualifying changes and surprises for this man here, Bernd Schneider, starting back in the pack, but finishing well in the first race. He's looking to get back into the points. Defending champion, Jean Alesi, we'll see if he can continue on the pole position to pick up his victory, but all of it now will depend upon where we can go here in the race. Cars are out on the warm-up lap. There you get to see how they're going to start. Jean Alesi and then Tomczyk. Manuel Reuter, who started on the pole in the first race, finishes 3rd. Vesler is starting 4th. Then comes Timo Schneider, who lost his position to Vesler, along with Menu. And then comes Wendlinger and Schneider. So Bernd Schneider starting back in 8th position for the defending champion. Ekstrom and Thomas Jaeger. And behind them, Christian Albers, one of the fine young drivers in the series, becoming more and more consistent. And then, of course, Christian Abt, the man that runs Abt Sportsline Racing for the Audi crew. English fans, big racing fans, ready to go. Feature race, here we go, we're underway, and Alesi gets a good jump. Seems to get away clean this time. One car got off a little bit slow. Everybody else seems to be getting off very, very well. And look at that, Jean Alesi has taken the lead as they go through Redgate, head down through the Craner Curves, the fastest part of the course. And a car goes off the course. A car goes off, but is okay and comes back on again. Meanwhile, Alesi is out in front, and Vesler got a great start. He's running up in 2nd position. Marcel Vesler is running in 2nd. Tomczyk is running 3rd. And look at that, Bernd Schneider, who started 8th, is now running in 4th place. Great start. Reuter back to 5th. But the start of Vesler and the start of Bernd Schneider are really the ones that have amazed the fans here. Here we are, headed down the straight toward the Fogarty chicane. Alesi, Marcel Vesler, Tomczyk, and then comes Schneider and Reuter and Schneider. And tight racing between the veterans and the young up-and-coming stars. Ride with Martin Tomczyk. Once again, heading toward Fogarty. Once again, Vesler wants to get inside. They're going side by side. Alesi has the inside line. Here comes Tomczyk. Look at that. Vesler wanted to move up and lost the position. So Alesi now is on the outside. Tomczyk is on the inside. It's getting a little tight here. Who's going to come out of it? Alesi will have the line coming out. He holds on. And as they'll head up into the Goddard, here comes Alesi. He held on to the lead. Boy, that was some tight racing and a big loss for Vesler, dropping from 2nd to 3rd. Martin Tomczyk running in 2nd place. Bernd Schneider sits back in 4th place, watching all the action. Reuter behind him, Schneider behind him, and then Menu. And behind him is Wendlinger, Carl Wendlinger, in the Audi. These top 3 are putting on a show here. And Bernd Schneider, last year's Dominator, having his problems this year, working it just to see if he can come up with a good finish here. Look at this going through the Fogarty. Fessler and Alesi. Now I bet Norbert Haug had a bad moment there. Two Mercedes teammates actually bumping each other. Competition's tough here. Nobody's giving up anything. And Fessler now would like to get by Tomczyk. Seems like he may have a faster car at that point. Tomczyk holds him off nicely as they go through Compass and head back down toward the Fogarty again. A very fast race course. Plenty of runoff room. Tomczyk blocks very nicely. Bernd Schneider seems to be happy to sit back and see how it goes. They have to have a mandatory pit stop in this race, so all of them will have to come in at least once to change tires. Everyone is pretty well strung out right now. Nobody seems to be having any serious problems. And Jean Alesi now has got some breathing room. And look at this, Fessler tries to go inside and bumps into Tomczyk. Schneider goes inside. Parts of the car are all over the place. And Tomczyk was spun in a very bad place. He's going to have to turn around and see if he can keep going. Oh, and look at the car from Timo Scheider. Somewhere he smashed into somebody coming through that corner. He was behind everybody going in there. That car's got some serious repairs if he can make it back to the pits. All this happening just past the entrance to pit lane, so he has to go a full lap to get back and see if the crew can help him out a little bit. That car is in seriously bad shape. We haven't seen yet exactly how it happened to him. Here's the spin as Tomczyk went around, and we still can't see how he's coming in yet. But already you can see the car has been damaged. But for Tomczyk, well, his day ended very quickly.
Ja, in der vierten Runde hat mich der Marcel in der letzten Kurve einfach umgedreht. Ich war schon Mitte der Kurve, schon bereit zum Rausbeschleunigen. Und dann ist er einfach volle Kanne hinten reingefahren. Musste das ganze Feld passieren lassen. Und für mich war dann das Hauptrennen gelaufen somit.
Another look at it as Fessler bumps into Tomczyk, ending his day, but it was also the end of the day for Timo Scheider.
Ich habe nur mitgekriegt, dass ein gelber Audi falsch auf der Ziel stand. Das war in dem Fall der Martin Tomczyk. Und Manuel, ich war ja gleich dahinter. Manuel hat sich wahrscheinlich aufgrund dessen erschreckt, hat eine Vollbremse gemacht, so wie wie es angenommen war. Aber ich war so dicht hinten dran, dass ich immer gleich hinten drauf gefahren bin. Von hinten habe ich noch einen Schubser gekriegt.
So that's what happened to Timo Scheider, and his race day came to an end. Meanwhile, Fessler picked up a stop and go for his actions for first a quick start as Bartels goes off the course. And Dumbreck also had to do a stop and go because of a quick start. So a number of drivers have dropped back. Bartels is trying to get out of the gravel. It looks like he's stuck and is going to drop way, way back. But then it's time for the pit stops, the mandatory pit stops in the feature race. There is Alesi coming out. And Aiello, who has been trying to battle back. He's coming out of his pits. Also coming out, Thomas Jaeger. And there is Aiello. And there comes Fessler. But his stop and go has dropped him way back. It's a matter now of trying to sort out who is out in front. There goes Alesi. Right there is Olivier, and he has got problems with his door. They're going to have to bring him in to get that fixed. When Alesi pit, Schneider took over the lead. Schneider pitted, and Christian Abt has the lead. And once he pits, then it should be back to normal. Here comes Bernd Schneider here. And Schneider's coming into the pits. And he's coming in because they said he went too fast. Or is he coming in for his regular pit stop? He's been told he was too fast and had to take a stop and go. But in this case, he's coming in to change tires. We're going to have to let the officials kind of straighten this one out. Stop and go penalties are flying all over the place here. And Schneider comes out right behind Jean Alesi. Schneider comes out right behind Jean Alesi. Abt is out in front, but Abt has to pit yet. And look at Alesi take off. Schneider, of course, on cold tires. He's going to have to come back in. And that was the sign for Olivier to come in, the black flag, to get that door fixed on his car. So Alesi gets out just in time to come around ahead of Bernd Schneider, who went into the pit. So it looks like we're going to have one heck of a finish here in the second half of the race. The rest of the pits, though, everybody still has to do their pits, and that includes Christian Abt. These are the cars right there running second and third at this point. Alesi has been the dominant force so far in this race. In the feature races so far this season. Here comes Abt. Let's see what happens. Get a good look at it here. Change all four. He's not out yet. He's not out yet. Something's wrong. Something's wrong on the back tire. The pit stop is hurting him here. He's out. Oh, he's going to drop back. He's going to drop way back after that pit stop. Here he comes. So Christian Abt, who had been doing so well, all of a sudden has dropped all the way back to what looks to be about 13th position. Meanwhile, Alesi has once again taken over the lead. And this is Mürke coming in. And a car goes off. Two cars are going off the course. That looks like it is the final end of the day for Tomczyk's car. He kept trying to get it in, but it didn't. And look at this. There it is. Number one stop and go. That is Bernd Schneider going too fast in pit lane. Bernd Schneider speeding on pit lane is going to have to come in. Also coming in will be car number 3. That's Laurent Aiello. Norbert Haug from Mercedes can't believe it. Bernd Schneider, who is running a very strong second, is going to have to come in because he was speeding on pit lane. That will change the whole complexion of things here. That will mean that moving into second place will be Alain Menu, if he can. Here comes Aiello. He had been called in for a stop and go. He's had his share of difficult problems, first with the hood in the first race. Now he's got a stop and go here. Let's see if Schneider comes in now. Alesi is out in front. They're probably talking about it, trying to figure out what to do. Alain Menu right there is in third position. So he will benefit from Bernd Schneider having to go in for the speeding on pit lane infraction. Jean Alesi, who is his teammate, is out in front. Would have been interesting to see if there had been any kind of team order, but I don't think Europeans want to hear much about team order after the Formula One event. So they're saying Aiello has to come in still, and Schneider has to come in. And Bernd Schneider is going into the pit to take his stop and go. So this will drop him back. In fact, they're probably dropping back quite a ways. Everybody's running pretty close here. The defending champion, two-time champion, coming in for his stop and go. Stop, he's out. And he's going to drop back a good 4, 5, 6 places here. And Menu now has moved into second position. And it looks like, if we're correct, Thomas Jaeger is running in third. It's going to have to be some sorting out here. This would also be one of the better finishes for Jaeger if he could hold on to that position for third. But right now the question is, what's going to happen to Bernd Schneider? Schneider's having to battle Christian Abt right now as they're working out the standings after all the stop and goes and the pit stops here. So Schneider, who had a very bad qualifying, looked like he was doing real well, had moved up in the field after the qualifying race, was running up into fourth, as high as fourth, and then as high as second here in the main race, and then took the stop and go. Now he's way back in the pack. He's going to have to see if he can come back up into the points. Points given for 1 through 6 here. So Jean Alesi is out in front. Menu is second. And Christian Abt has gone by Bernd Schneider. Christian Abt in the Audi has gone by Bernd Schneider. So Abt, who has worked his way up through the field, is doing quite well right now, but the question is going to be, where are we in the standings? Here comes Jean Alesi through the Fogarty. The second part of that chicane, missing the curbs totally. The curbs here are relatively high, so you want to stay off them as much as you can. There is Alesi. Behind him is Menu. So Alain Menu and Opel holding up their hopes here in Donington. The two makes of cars that were not doing that well in the first 2 races of the season are dominating here, 1 and 2. The question is going to be, can Menu catch up and put some pressure on Alesi? Now, Menu has driven over here in Donington a long time. He's driven a number of times, he's a champion here, knows the course. But right now, it doesn't look like he's able to make up much time, as Alesi continues to seemingly pull away here. Christian Abt, who had passed Schneider, is now running in 6th position. One of the surprises is back in the 4th position, and that's Christian Albers, a 23-year-old Mercedes driver. He's steadily moved up in the field. He started in 11th, and he is now running in 4th position. And for Albers, that would be a tremendous increase for him. He was 18th in the first race, 6th in the second race weekend, and now here he is running, at least at this moment, in 4th position. So we have a number of drivers here who are doing extremely well that we have not seen do that well so far this year, and that includes the 3rd place driver. That's car number 11, Thomas Jaeger. But your leader, Jean Alesi, is also one of those looking to make his mark in German touring cars. Patrick Hussmann for Mercedes. That's his car right there with a CEV on it. He's battling Bernd Mailander. They're back in the pack a little way. This is a battle for 9th and 10th position. And behind them is Manuel Reuter, who started off so well, but has dropped way back in the field after the pit stops. Jean Alesi, your leader. Menu in the Opel is running 2nd. And look at the distance here between them and Thomas Jaeger in the Mercedes. There is Christian Albers. That's that purple car with the red markings on it. Boy, he's doing a great job. Paul Wendlinger is behind him. There's Christian Abt, Bernd Schneider, and there is Ekstrom. The way this race is going, you don't know what's going to happen. But what really is happening, we're seeing some new drivers up front, and the veterans having to take a back seat. Laurent Aiello is coming back into the pits. Or coming out. He's coming out. He had taken a stop and go. Another stop and go penalty. This also for speeding down pit lane. And Bernd Schneider, number 1, is being called back in again. Bernd Schneider is being called into the pits again, and again for going too fast. What's amazing is these cars have an automatic device that sets the speed limit when they come into the pits. Somewhere something's not functioning in his Mercedes. This will totally throw him out of any contention whatsoever. He's got to come in the pits again. Meanwhile, Jean Alesi continues to roll. Manuel is running in second and is not closing the gap whatsoever. Once again, you're riding with Husmann. And Wendlinger's gone off. Karl Wendlinger has gone off the course. And he will drop back. He had been running in the 5th position. Drops back to what looks to be about the 8th position as he goes off.
Im zweiten Rennen ist es turbulent gewesen, nicht mit mir, weil ich eigentlich problemlos gefahren bin, aber einige Stop and Goes waren. Dann bin ich rein zum Boxenstopp, die Zeit war richtig, habe leider wegen dem Verkehr in der Box ein paar Sekunden verloren. Und aus dem Grund war nach dem Boxenstopp der Christian Albers vor mir, den habe ich dann überholt, weil er einen Fehler gemacht hat, weil er im Dreck gekommen ist. Und in der gleichen Runde ist er ins Auto gefahren und dann hat es mich gedreht.
Meanwhile, Bernd Schneider is back out on the course. Probably trying to figure out what happened and what went wrong. Ekstrom is right behind him. This has been an interesting one as far as stop and goes. The officials have certainly had their share of influencing this event. There is Albers, then comes Abt, and Bernd Schneider behind him. You're riding with Matthias Ekstrom as he goes in through the Fogarty and heads down the hill toward the Melbourne hairpin. And he is right behind Bernd Schneider right there. So Schneider continues to try to make up for what's been a disastrous day as far as pit work is concerned. It's just somewhere something's not right with the automatic system that sets up where they don't speed through the pits. And he's called in. Here goes Bernd Schneider in again. This is another penalty. And this one really hurts. It's also for going too fast in the pits. This is not Bernd Schneider's day. He goes back out. He's going to drop way back now. Dumbreck comes by. Here he comes. He comes out. So Bernd Schneider is just one of those days where he kind of says, okay, what's going to happen next? This is unbelievable. There's your leader, Jean Alesi. He's saying the same thing, but for totally different reasons. He has continued to roll. He qualified well. He had the pole position up until the last minute of qualifying when Manuel Reuter took it from him. But then he passed Reuter in the qualifying race, held off Tomczyk to win it. And now he's out in front in the main race. Here comes Christian Abt. He's getting by Christian Albers, the young Mercedes driver. Or is he? Yep, he did. So Christian Abt has now moved into 3rd place. He had started 10th. During the pit stages, he had taken the lead and dropped back as far as 8th. But now with all the stop and goes, he has moved himself back up into 3rd place. Albers, who is doing still very well for himself, is running in 4th position. Right behind Albers is Matthias Ekstrom, who you're riding with right here. So we still have a very good mix of the veterans and the young drivers. Norbert Haug there watching all the action. Nobody's sure now what is going on. He's probably wondering what happened to Schneider in the pit lane. Something's wrong with that regulator device in his car, obviously. Once again, you're riding with Ekstrom. They've been through McLean, headed toward the Coppice, and then the straightaway back toward the Fogarty chicane, which takes them behind the pit area and the grandstand. There's Albert's car right there, and behind him is Ekstrom. You get a look at Albert's car right now from the Ekstrom perspective. There they are, the two of them driving, two young drivers in this field. Ekstrom is 23. Albers is 23. Both getting their starts in touring car racing. Bernd Schneider is pushing it. He wants to get back up in the points if he can, but he has just had his share of bad luck today. He's pushing it as far as he can. He's using up every bit of the road more to try to make up time, but right now it's very, very difficult. That last one sent him back all the way to 13th position. There's the battle right there for the 4th and 5th position at this time. So the Abt-Audis are once again back up and battling for points. This time they're not dominating up in front, but they certainly have shown that they bring the car forward, and they're doing extremely well. Manuel Reuter is off. Oh, what a disappointing day for him. Qualified on the pole. Finished in the points in the qualifying. And now he's off in the feature race. Opel still not quite where they want to be. Although Alain Menu is running in second place at this time. You can see what happened to the Reuter car. Here comes Ekstrom right up on Albers. He gets inside and gets by him. Matthias Ekstrom gets by Albers, and Ekstrom now is running in 4th place with just a few laps to go. So Ekstrom from Sweden continues to roll here. He had driven in Donington in some formula races early on when he was getting truly started in the business. Well, this is the first time in a touring car. Albers certainly is not doing badly for himself at all. He was 18th in the first race, 6th at Zolder. And right now, he's running back in the 5th position. There's Carl Wendlinger. Now Wendlinger has also had his share of up and down. He's running right back in the 6th position, but there's your leader. Jean Alesi has stayed out of trouble. Obviously, his regulator's working in the pits. He's having no trouble whatsoever there. There's Ekstrom getting by Albers. Albers actually let him by. Albers felt he probably had a faster car and let him go, and Albers can be happy with where he's finishing. He's driving very consistently. He continues to get better all throughout the year. He can be very happy with what he's done here. Manuel Reuter, a very disappointing man. Disappointed. He just has not had the luck. Last year they were fighting to get the car competitive, and this year it looks like he was there and then not quite. Oh, what happened to Menu? There comes Alesi, and Menu's going in the pits. Oh, what a blow for Opel. Alain Menu is coming in the pits. They're going to change tires. Something happened here with just a couple of laps to go and a definite second place finish, and now he's out. Oh, what a break. And what a break for Christian Abt. He takes over second place. And Menu drops back. Oh, what a shame. Drops back to probably 8th, 9th, or 10th position there, depending on how they come around. 2 laps to go. And Jean Alesi has been out there all alone. It looked like first he might get challenged by Schneider, and then he got sent to the pits a couple of times because of speed violations in the pits. Menu looked like he might be able to push, but then he had problems, slowed down, and now had to go into a pit stop and has dropped way back. And actually the person that's smiling through all of this is Christian Abt. He has inherited second place, and there's the Audi crew. They got to be very, very happy right now. On the top of the lot, Matthias Ekstrom, another Audi, is running in 3rd. So the Audis, who have dominated by winning the first 2 races of the season, are still dominating here, picking up points 2nd and 3rd. And Albers, if he holds on, is going to have his best finish of the season. He's moved up into 4th place. And Carl Wendlinger will be up into 5th place. It'll be his best finish. What an amazing race. There comes Albers right there. There's Wendlinger. That's Fessler on the right, trying to move up and getting by. He is. But they're fighting for material way back in the pack. Fessler is running in 6th position. He's ahead of Husmann, but right there is the man of the day. Jean Alesi has stayed out of all the trouble, all the penalties. And to top it all off, Laurent Aiello has gotten the black flag. Laurent Aiello, who was hit for time penalties, he had his hood up, had bad qualifying, and now the points leader has been black flagged. Not his day. There's your second place car, Christian Abt. Coming around. What an amazing time for him. He finished second in Zolder and is now going to finish second, evidently, here in Donington. Ekstrom, who is running third right now, finished second at Hockenheim, and then finished fourth at Zolder and third at Donington. So young Ekstrom is doing extremely well, but there's the winner. Jean Alesi, his first touring car event championship for Mercedes in the German Touring Car Masters, a happy crew. Here comes Christian Abt. He'll take second place. What an amazing finish here. Who would have believed it after all of this? Albers does finish fourth. Ekstrom is third. So the Audis go second and third. What a great day for them. But there's the man. Jean Alesi, a third at Hockenheim, a 10th in Zolder, and now a first here in Donington. And Bernd Schneider works his way across the line. He's coming in 12th. It'll be a day he'd just as soon forget. These folks for Audi, boy, are they a happy bunch. They had their share of difficulty. Laurent Aiello, their points leader, black flagged in the last couple of laps. Who would have guessed that one? Christian Abt, the owner of Abt Sportsline, co-owner with his brother, brings his car in second. And there's the Mercedes crew as Alesi comes across the finish line. They're not too happy. The man that certainly has to be happy is the Frenchman, picking up his first victory for Mercedes in the German Touring Car Masters.
It's a long time I'm not on the first place on the podium. He was in Canada with Formula One, and to be in this series, you know, the first time I drove the car, I understand it was very tough. But with all my career, I was really looking for a great championship. I had a very good welcome from all the drivers and the team managers. Really, I'm very happy to be in this series. It's very hard, but I love it.
He certainly can say that now. Look at that. And the largest margin of victory so far this season, over 12 seconds, with Christian Abt second, the Audi third, Albers fourth. But once again, a difficult time for the Opels. There's Christian Abt with his crew. They have to be very, very happy. They have done extremely well this season. And after a difficult start here, they came back and finished second and third.
Es war sehr turbulent.
It was very turbulent.
Ich habe gewusst aus der englischen Meisterschaft, dass es hier immer sehr turbulent ist und man muss da ein bisschen mit Abwarten fahren. Und ich habe gewusst, das Auto schon im Sprint, dass es für so einen sehr, sehr gut ist. Das Team hat einen fantastischen Job gemacht, weil das ganze Wochenende hat es irgendwie nicht richtig funktioniert. Ich selber bin aber auch nicht mit der Strecke so zurechtgekommen und im Rennen habe ich dann den Rhythmus von den anderen ein bisschen gesehen. Und dann ging es besser und besser und konnte dann richtig gute Rundenzeit fahren.
The championship still dominated by Laurent Aiello, but look at this. Jean Alesi has moved into second place, and young Matthias Ekstrom with some fine finishes in third place, followed by Christian Abt. So the championship tightened up a lot here, and Bernd Schneider still way back in fifth position after his difficult day of stop-and-go penalties. So as the fans depart here at Donington, it's time to look for the drivers to celebrate their victory. And we start looking ahead just a little bit. The next stop on the tour will be the Sachsenring back in Germany. That will promise to be some tight racing there. A number of these drivers will be making their very first appearance at this circuit. Right now, these drivers don't worry about the Sachsenring. They're enjoying what they're doing, and particularly Jean Alesi, who has not driven at the Sachsenring, nor his Ekstrom. So it promises to be a great race at the Sachsenring after some fine racing here in Donington, England.
I have to say, I'm first of all starting from the pit lane. It's a new experience, first time in my career, and then I pushed everything that I could do with my car and my setup, and I saw the pit, but every lap it was getting lower and lower position, and I'm very, very happy for my third place.
And that does it for our coverage of the German Touring Car Masters from Donington, England. Join us next time when we come to you from the Saxon Ring. This is Milt Fitzwater reporting.